Down in the 358 pit area, that's where we find Mason Chaney. Mason, second race in the 358 this year. Talk about that first reopener.
Yeah, everything went our way. We had a good fill draw, good redraw. The car felt good right out of the bat. The first couple weeks of practice, we had a stutter in the motor, couldn't figure it out. Found out it was my box. Put a new one of them in there. The car ran great. You know, just everything played my way that night.
Former Central Pennsylvania Legends champion, you make the decision to switch from the Legend cars to the Sprint cars. Been a bit of a learning curve.
Yeah, big learning curve. Yeah. Legend cars definitely are way harder to drive than these, but these are way harder to be better at to drive.
Okay.
The car mainly does all the work for you in this. It's just hard to be good, and learning the dirty air with a wing is really different than in a Legend car.
What's the biggest difference with the, besides the wing, as far as the cars? With the Legend cars, I guess you're more manhandling the car.
Yeah, this takes me back to when I was running go-karts, where I got to be smooth with the wheel. And the Legend car, I mean, you were in there just fighting the car. Legend car more, because I drove Bob Sow's late model at practice one night. Legend car more handles like a late model. The Sprint car is kind of like a go-kart that's just glued to the track. And you just got to pick a good line and hope that guy's wind and air is not bothering your car.
Yeah, I hear that a lot. Clean air, dirty air, shock packages, stagger, side-by-side weight. What do we do here? How much percentage here? How much percentage there? I guess with the Sprint car, the right rear tire is the largest tire. I guess that's where that does all the work.
Yep, yeah, the right rear, you gotta have good used tires is what we're trying to run this year. Last week we had a good start spot, so we bolted on a brand new one. But tires are really good, but I've always ran old tires my whole life. So I don't think I need to throw one on here. I think I can rely on Dad and my uncle and Larry to help me get this car right, where we might be able to do it with less money in tires than some of these other kids.
You mentioned Larry Stout.
Yep.
That's an amazing story in itself. Larry, of course, his brother Bob, and those guys have been in all different forms of racing. And it seems like when somebody has a question, a concern, or an issue, or a problem, Larry's the guy they call.
Yeah, Larry will give you the shirt off his back, and he just wants to work on race cars. And he even goes fast, you know.
And he makes them go faster.
Yeah, like last year, beginning of the year, we were struggling with this thing, with me driving, not knowing how to set it up. And Larry was like, you know what, I'm bringing the scales over. We were on the scales for almost 6 hours, rolling it on and off, on and off. And everybody's like, you really don't scale a sprint car. Well, Larry learned something that night, and he's got us working on something where we came back for the Legends National race with us for 358 here, and it's the best car I've ever had. Things are rocket. I feel comfortable in it. Before it was really unstable, now it's super stable, and I'm comfortable. And all it took was Larry to touch the car.
Well, I took that, and of course, the seat time for you.
Yeah.
Now, let's get back to opening day here at Lincoln for the 358s. You'll hear a lot of people talk on the 358s. They all go around the bottom and follow the leader. That wasn't the case. That was a day track.
Yeah. It was a good track. I just felt that I needed to be on the bottom, just thinking everybody runs the bottom, especially on a day show. And I've seen the tire out there a couple times and was like, when Cody got to my outside, I was like, all right, I'm in the preferred line. And he drove by me.
Well, before we get to Cody, how about the race, the show that, I was going to say the show that you and Zane Rudisville put on, two of the young guys in this sport with probably the least amount of experience.
Yeah.
What a show for the fans.
I really didn't know it was Zane until the second red. I looked over at the board because the way the sun was that day, I couldn't see the boards to see who was behind me until we had that red. And I was, it was really cool to know that the two guys that started in this last year and probably had the hardest luck last year were up front doing good. And I've gone over and helped Zane's dad weld seat cars in his new cars for him and stuff like that. And he's kind of tried to give me some advice, and it's really cool to see us both have a really good first opening day.
Absolutely. Now we're going to bring Cody Fletcher into the mix. Cody, of course, picking up his first track championship ever right here at Lincoln, our defending champion in 358 ranks. He's sort of he's the one with all the experience. He's the veteran back here. He's in third place, watching you and Zane battling out, biding his time. And of course, as you said, he got up alongside. Do you feel you guys, did Did you burn your tires, or did he save his tires, or did the track come to him and go away from you?
I think once he passed me, I was a little too anxious on getting back to the throttle and spinning the tires more. I think his experience of staying calm and cool under the collar kept him up front, and he had his wing all the way in the trunk, and I couldn't get my wing all the way back. We had a burr in the slider where it stopped it. I think if I could have had it back there, I don't think I would have beat him, but he might not. I think I might have been able to keep up a little bit better.
So in racing, we're told we're always learning.
Yep.
You learned some lessons from, you had a great ride.
Yeah.
Great ride. But you learned lessons as Cody went on to the big thing.
Yeah. I was learning all night on restarts, on how to mess with my fuel to get the car not to stumble on a restart. I learned where I should have been running, that I should have had the wing back farther. I learned all night long. With the day track, it's not always going to be the bottom, so I need to come off the bottom and look a little bit more and see if I find something better.
Another curve thrown to the Speedway racing surface today. With the cold temperatures forecast for tonight, we go from a 7 to a 5 o'clock start time. Right now, the sun's nice and bright, a bit of a breeze. Who knows what it's going to be like throughout the rest of the evening. What's this track going to do?
It depends on how cold it gets. If it gets as cold as they're saying it's going to get, I think we'll have a little bit of dew and a little bit of moisture come back. But it all depends on what the time trial show,
right,
and what the 410s, how far they push the cushion up, how far they wear the moisture out of the track. But I really hope the second group can come in, because a lot of these guys are good drivers.
Absolutely.
And if we have a nice second group, I think we can put on a good show tonight.
Well, I tell you, the 358 put on a good show. The opening night, or opening day, I guess I should say, was a great show. Hopefully we see a repeat of that, but maybe get you to finish a spot or so closer to the front. What do you think?
I hope so. We got some work to do. I pulled a 47 tonight,
oh,
so
well,
things aren't going our way already.
Well, you know what? You got to just pass them all. How's that?
I'll try. I mean, that's the one thing I'm not as confident in these cars as being passing. But if you put me out there by myself, I think I can run a pretty good lap. And that's why I was excited last week. I was starting up front, not have to be around so many cars, getting out there, getting seat time. Tonight, we'll see how she does in the dirty air. And hopefully I can work on passing some cars tonight.
A race like the opener where you had such a good run, that's got to build so much confidence in the driver, your dad, the crew, the whole family. That's just got to build so much confidence.
Yeah, we were, especially with going to 2 practices and couldn't find the miss we had. I mean, we replaced everything from fuel lines, reset all my high speed, low speed, rewired the car, new switches, and still had to stumble. Couldn't get it out of there. We were all kind of beat down, and then to have that good run, we were like, it was worth it.
Absolutely. Well, we wish you the best on the rest of the season, tonight especially right now. Congratulations on a good run. Great to have you here with the 358 Sprint Cars. Always a fabulous show. We're glad you're a part of the Lincoln Speedway family.
Thank you.
All right. Mason Chaney looking to redeem himself. Not really redeem himself. He had a great run. Still learning. Take those lessons he's learned and put them to good use here tonight.